Right, so before we get to the main conversion of the camper van in the back, there's a few bits and pieces I want to add to the van. The first thing I want to do is add cruise control, because when you're out on the motorways, French motorways and the German autobahn, it's so much nicer just to stick the cruise control on. In my Renault Master, the conversion should be quite simple. It's a new steering wheel with the buttons on, and it's the cruise control switch, which normally lives here. I've been on eBay, I've bought myself a steering wheel with the buttons, and I've bought myself a cruise control switch, which is cruise control and speed limiter in one. As you'll see, the panel is not the right one. It is from a left-hand drive van, so it actually fits that panel. These are quite easy switches to remove, so the plan is to actually take it out from there and fit it over here where I have a blank. Obviously I need to remove the wiring. I have checked behind this panel, the wiring is there, so I just need to reroute it behind the instrument cluster down to there, extend it all, plug it in, and the job should be good. I think you need to go into the diagnostics and tell it it's got cruise control. So that is an additional thing. So if you're doing this yourself and you haven't got the capabilities to do that, make sure you do a bit of research, find someone who's able to do it for you. Worst case, I think Renault themselves will do it. So before I do anything, obviously I've got to remove the airbag, so I'm going to disconnect the battery, leave the car for about half an hour, just to drain any residual charge that's in the system. Now the battery on these is in the passenger doorstep, so we've got these Torx screws, they're T30s. Okay, so battery's disconnected. We've with the Renault Master, you only have to wait for 1 minute for the system to disarm itself. Some cars can be 15 minutes, some of them 45 minutes. If you're not sure, I'll leave it an hour. So what you need is a screwdriver. I'm using a Torx screwdriver. It doesn't really matter what size it is or what screwdriver it is. I'll show you in more detail in a moment, but if you can see here, there is a hole. There we are, just there. And what you want to do is get your screwdriver in there, and you'll feel a spring. There it is, I can feel the spring. And if I put you here, I can push that screwdriver against the spring, and the airbag should pop off. There you go, there's one side. And you want to do it on both sides. There's another hole the other side, which again I'll show you in a moment, if I can find the other spring. There we go. And then it should just be a case of it should just fall off. There we go. Ooh. So that's your airbag. Now what I'm hoping in here, because my new steering wheel has got, as you can see, an extra plug connected here, so I'm hoping I have a blank for it on my clock spring, otherwise I know I'm going to need a clock spring as well, as you can see on there. So I think we'll remove the steering wheel just to confirm whether it has or not, because it's quite difficult to see from there. Now these, I'll try and do this carefully. You got two plugs, as you can see. I'll tuck it up there, there we go. So you've got this white one, so push the little tab in there and it should slide out. There we go. And then this one here, we pull the little red tab down and it pops off. And then here's, there you go, that one falls out. So here's our airbag, and when we push the screwdriver in, what we were doing is pushing these little rods either side out so that they unclip from these clips here. Right, so to get the steering wheel off is a T50 Torx bit there. You'll probably find putting the steering wheel against its lock will help you turn it. Just if you've got a battery gun, that should do it. If not, a breaker bar should be enough. Right, now we've got the steering wheel off. You can see this one, as you can see, has a cover, which was one of my annoyances. I don't like that at all. This one is off of a really low mileage van, but looks like it was a painter's van because there is bits of paint there which I've got to clean off. But the steering wheels themselves look identical, which is great because that means I bought the right one. Anyone who was worried about me not marking this, it was always a good idea to just put a little paint mark on top of the splines there, and maybe same on this one, but hopefully you can make it out. There is, so try and get it in focus, there's a little mark there, and if I show on the new one, there's a little arrow just there, and it lines up with a section that doesn't have splines. So the steering wheel will only fit one way. The wiring for this, as it turns out, is that plug there, which was tucked up into the airbag. So that's great because it means I have got all the wiring for the cruise control here. I did think about, wonder if I had to change the clock spring as well. This, whatever you do, don't move it more than a little way. If you do a whole turn, there's a coil inside which can snap, and then you end up with airbag faults and steering indicator wiper faults, all sorts of stuff. So don't move that unless you really need to. It does have a little locating stud in the steering wheel, and yeah, it's just a case of putting it all back on. Feed the wires through gently. And the steering wheel should just, there we go. As you can see, if I take it off, you can see it doesn't physically fit anywhere else except there. It slots on quite nicely there. So just so it's out of the way, I'm going to plug that in now. There we go. And then in case of bolt this back on, wire in the airbag, and then it should just push fit in. I don't know what was holding it at the bottom. Oh, there's a locating pin there at the bottom. That obviously locates in here. So I'll push that in, push the clip in, and then we'll move over to the switch. There we go, all back together, loving it. It's nice to have the buttons there. This dirt here should just clean up it. To be honest, a lot of it's coming off with my fingers, so pleased with that. So yeah, next we go to the switch. Now, to remove the switches from this panel, I'll grab my little screwdriver. There are little tiny tabs. Where did I see them? There on the end. So we're just gonna go in there and prise it up. Same on the other side. So I don't need this panel. There we go. So there's our switch and the plug. This panel is for, like I said, for a left-hand drive van, goes in that panel. But we normally would have it here, but I don't like to have blanks, so I'm putting the switch. There you go, there's the wiring for the switch. So my idea is to cut back what I can here, cut the wires and extend them, solder wires in one by one, hopefully the right colours. There are 5 of them. And I will run them over here, and if I take that panel wasn't quite as easy to come out, so I don't want to damage my trim. There we go, that's out. As you can see, the blank will come out exactly the same way. It's fitted exactly the same as the other one. And then I can bring the wiring through here and have my cruise control switch on that side. For now, because I want to test the system, I'm just going to plug this in. And the good thing with Renault is that they colour code the plugs. So grey to grey, whatever the green wire is for will be for a switch with a green plug. And same over here, you've got grey and grey. So well done, Renault, that was well thought out. So yeah, I'm going to reconnect the battery now, and yeah, we'll see. I don't think it will work straight away. If it does, the lights will come on the dash, but I don't think it will. I think it needs programming, but let's give it a go.
3 days later.
So I decided to take the van home, give it a go, try it out. As expected, the cruise control didn't work, so I do need to get it programmed. That's not a problem. We have people here at work that we can get in contact to do that. So I have now put my switch in with blank. Like I said, it was just a case of I'm clip the old one, clip the new one in. The wiring's all across, so everything is ready to be set up. So hopefully on our first trip away, which should only be in a few months' time, we should have cruise control. So really looking forward to that. The next step in the conversion, unfortunately, is still not going to be anything in the back. It's going to be lights. So if you want to stick around and watch my video on adding extra lights to the van, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video if you made it this far, and I'll see you next time.